Hey guys, this is Jamie. Today I'm gonna be doing something I haven't done in quite a while, and frankly, is something. It's not that I do daily because obviously I have certain things like university which prevents me from doing that. Mainly because I barely have any time and I haven't had sort of even time for myself recently due to all the assignments. So basically, today I'll be doing a makeup tutorial, which is something I really haven't done in a long while, and at the same time, very excited to do. And well, one of the reasons I really wanted to do it was because I don't really see a lot of obviously we have men in makeup, but we don't have a lot of men who wear makeup specifically from Europe. I know like you have like Wayne Goss, I really enjoy Wayne Goss, but he doesn't wear it. And when it comes to Robert Welsh, James Welsh, I just don't enjoy them. And obviously, like for um, like a beauty space which is huge, I feel like we should be having more representation. So it's not just me being arrogant, but it's more of a if you can't find presentation, you have to do it yourself. So what I'm gonna start with is I've primed my face, uh, and I'll get to my beauty routine, I guess, in another video. So prime with whatever you do, and I guess what I want to say is that I'll be going more for the techniques rather than the products, but I'll still like say what products I'm wearing basically. So right now I'm using the Kiko Milano Unlimited Foundation Longwear and Comfort. I love this shit. I love it because I actually, in case you're wondering why I have a Jeffree Star mirror, is because I used to support him before a lot of things happened, and in general, I just really like the shape of the mirror. And I still haven't managed to find the stickers which I feel like would be suitable to, replace the logo with something more pleasant. And also, in sort of this age of too much consumerism, um, I just feel like we need to use the things we have. If you're wondering if this is too pale for me, the answer is yes, and I enjoy it that way. And when it comes to sort of like how it looks like in real life, it looks more natural. For some reason, right now it looks really white, which is quite funny to me. But yeah, you'll see the results and after I contour and everything as well. Which is really weird because it really blends quite well with my skin in life. And it gives me a very sort of airbrushed, polished look. And also because my skin is very, very oily, it keeps me matte all day. And also, in case you haven't noticed, I'm quite bald. So I kind of have a lot of forehead space. And it also holds sort of like the sweat that goes from my baldness down to my skin. I actually used to be this pale before. I do have foundations which match me a bit more, but when I was looking for a new foundation, I wanted something way more mattifying. And there's one thing about me, which is the fact that I really, really hate ordering online. I know it's kind of silly, but I really hate, like, I enjoy the process of receiving packages and all, but I really hate the fact that I have to wait, I have to track them down, I have to be at home in order to receive them. And in general, it just feels like a massive sort of mess from start to begin with. While when it comes to just buying things in a store, I do it in my own spare time and I have the time to test it out, I have the time to see it, and I receive it, well, when it's convenient for me, which is when I go to the store. And also, if you're wondering, like, why am I this pale? Also, like, I kind of, growing up, I really wanted to be a goth. So, one of the things that attracts me about, I guess, paler foundation, sort of like the pale sort of golf aesthetic. And don't forget that like I come from the Baltics, so like everyone was really pale. And I remember there was a certain point in time where I'd have to buy foundations which were darker than my skin because there just wasn't things that were light enough. And to be honest, I am using a very light shade. I'm using the 1R from Kiko. But in general, it kind of, I don't know, I just like how it looks. There's not, there's nothing, not too much deep lore here, to be honest. So what we'll be doing today is, I was figuring I'd show something what I call like sort of my natural routine, or like when I feel a bit less sort of wanting to show off. So I have the products which I use, which are less showy off. But at the same time, I'm gonna focus on a bit of a different eyeshadow because I did sort of like a very tame eyeshadow yesterday, and I don't like to repeat my looks most of the time. So yeah, now I see why people actually do their ears on YouTube. But as you can see, it sort of matches everything else. Like now my face is less red, it matches everything else. I'll just finish putting some foundation everywhere because I still have some left on my arm, or rather my hand. So what I do is I just do 2-3 pumps of the Kiko foundation. And it's quite recent that I started using this foundation actually. Because usually I use concealers because my skin is really light. And I was really surprised to even find this, which was matching. And I like concealers a bit more because they're not as heavy, but at the same time, they cover everything. And I remember I saw, I think it might have been Desi Perkins like ages ago, where she was talking about a no foundation routine and she was just using concealer all over. And ever since, I've kind of, I guess it just went into the back of my head and I've been using it ever since. So, in case you're wondering, I use a lot of Kiko Milano because I really, really enjoy the brand. Up to the point that I was actually talking to my partner, like now that we have a Kiko Milano in our city, which we didn't used to have. I was like, well, what do I do now? Do I just buy Kiko all the time? Because before I'd have to travel to the neighboring city for it. So what I do next is I have the Invisible Touch Face Fixing Powder by Kiko. This is probably my third or second. Ever since I started using translucent powder, I started off with e.l.f. I can't remember which one was it. It was a gift to me by my mom-in-law. Yes, I know I'm not married yet, but I still call her my mom-in-law. And everyone kind of just, we're just in-laws at this point. So basically, I kind of was wondering what kind of setting powder I want. And I didn't like the e.l.f. one that much. And then I came across the Kiko and I was like, yeah, works. So I usually start with my more oily areas, and if you have sort of like oily skin like I do, I highly recommend that. So my most oily parts are my nose. It's not my forehead. My forehead is as dry as like, I have no idea. It's just really dry. Nothing can be as dry as my forehead. And it has gotten so bad in the past that I had to use like these super anti-aging creams because it was that bad. And I was like getting really bad wrinkles as well. So about the applicator, sometimes because my forehead is dry, I tend to use a very big fluffy brush. But I quite enjoy this weird applicator. It's a sponge thing. It's a bit gross, but at the same time, you gotta keep in mind that the person who I talk to the most about makeup, other than my partner, is my friend who's a drag queen. And like any other drag queen, they kind of have older brushes which are really messy. And that's kind of the point, like you don't wash your brushes. I mean, you should be washing your brushes in general, and I should be doing that as well. But such is life. It's really weird how the camera captures everything differently, but anyway. So, this is pretty much my routine, so I'm really going in detail with it today. And I'll see. So, one of the items I got yesterday was the Silky Matte Bronzer by Kiko. I have opened it, I've stared at it happily. And obviously, I tried it in a store, like swatching on my hand, so I really hope it's good. But I haven't had many duds by Kiko. And I really tried to vary a bit on what I was gonna use today. But then I figured, well, like 99% of my stuff is Kiko. And I'm in Europe and I don't have a Sephora nearby. And probably, I don't know if my city will ever get a Sephora, factually. So I wanted to talk that, I do enjoy bronzer like everyone else. I enjoy sort of like a blush contouring, and in case you're wondering, obviously I have the Soto by NYX, which I've panned. I managed to pan it in the first month. This is how thin this thing is. Like, I was just revolted. And I had to review it because I also work a bit in the sort of beauty industry, if you must. So, as a part of my job, I had to review those blushes, and I was like, well, I'm gonna get this one then. Because I heard so many good things about using it as a contour or as a blush contour thing. But I'm running out on it. The only store that I could find that actually still has it and had it back in the time was this really good online Spanish store, which is one of the few stores I trust and the few stores that I actually order from, which is in Portugal, it's Maki Beauty, and in Spanish, it's they also have an Italian version, and obviously the OG Spanish one. But I won't remember the name. I just know that if you throw Maki Beauty and then it recognizes your IP and it will throw you to the right website. When it comes to my brushes, I use this old H&M angled buffer brush for my foundation. And around Christmas time, I got these Brad's Revolution brushes, which are also from the Maki Beauty website I mentioned, and they're both really good. So when it comes to contour, blush, the NYX Sweet Chicks basically thing, I tend to sort of like to mix a bit of what's going, like if I'm using bronzer today and I'll be using contour tomorrow, I will use the same brush, even though I have a few different brushes, obviously. I have a lot of brushes. And yeah, I'm kind of nervous to see if this will look good on me, but let's see. So what I do is this. When I want to look snatched. Also, please bear in mind that everyone sort of enjoys their makeup in their own way, and that's what I like about makeup. It doesn't have to follow any specific rules, and that's what I was talking about in the previous video. That right now we're like in this era, if you stay away from TikTok, that you don't really have to follow anything. And in general, makeup is such a versatile thing, and specifically these days, that you don't have to follow something. You just, do yourself. Usually I'm more shaved, so I kind of, great. So usually I'm more shaved, so I kind of have less hair. But today I'm quite tired, so I didn't get to shave my head yet. I'm quite enjoying this contour, and it smells quite nice. The other bronzers were way more orange, and this was the only one which had a cool tone, so it's in the shade Cocoa. And I quite enjoy it, it's quite nice. I mean, I knew it would be nice, but I didn't expect it to be this nice. I was really worried because I had been looking everywhere to find any sort of good contour to or blush or any bronzer to replace the next one. And I haven't been able to find it, and it was really driving me insane. And I was gonna say wild, and then I picked up my blush. So. This one's actually quite interesting because we don't really have a lot of Wet n Wild in continental Portugal. But I was in Azores Islands. I don't, and because they have like a U.S. airbase there, they have some brands which are not available to sort of like the mainland Portugal, which was quite interesting. And one of them was Wet n Wild. And while you can buy Wet n Wild like on Mackie, for instance, I haven't actually seen a lot of Wet n Wild or barely any, like in Portugal. So what I don't like about this blush is the fact that I really have to go really sort of in with it up to the point that it does sub because I really enjoy my blush to be a bit vivid. That's why I really don't like washing my blush brush. That's why it's very red. And then I kind of have like all the blush buildup from all the other blushes that I've been using as well. This is then going to be a very long video. Okay. So yeah, I also didn't speak a lot about my contouring technique because I haven't really been able to just sit down and talk about it. So basically, I contour here, I contour this side. So obviously, as you've seen, I've contoured a bit here just because I'm bold. And then I finish up here. I obviously do my nose. And I don't go too ham. And in general, it looks very snatched. And I also wanted to say that you can find your own sort of balance, the things that you enjoy, the things that make you feel comfortable. And obviously there have been times when I go without makeup most of the time in university, specifically around this time of the year. And specifically this semester because I haven't had time to do anything at this point. Besides study and like go to sleep at 4 a.m. dreading everything. So yeah, uni has been really tough on me these days. Now, when it comes to my eyebrows, I used to really enjoy the Benefit pencils. I used to love them, but they would last like 2 months on me. I think I've had this thing for a year and a half now. So it's the Kiko Eyebrow Sculpt Automatic Pencil in shade 06. I know that my hair is lighter, but I guess it's a cultural thing to sort of be obsessed with brows because, like, I come from a family in Eastern Ukraine and, like, blood whites, and brows are sort of like a big sort of thing. So I quite in like dark brows as well. So that's why I kind of really enjoy making my brows a lot darker. And I used to go to salons like to dye them. I tried a few times. And then just like ends up getting them really, really thin. And then I was like, yeah, this isn't working. Well, I should have just said like, just dye them and don't shape them too much. But once they shaped them too much and they were way too skinny, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna continue doing this. So I sort of really overdo my brow, and in my head, I'm like, this is very, very natural. Up to the point that when I was doing an internship, the internship was a fucking mistake because it really was, and because a lot of protocols weren't being followed and it was awful. But the point is, I was really nervous about wearing makeup there, and one of the things I would do is like I would still like do some light foundation or something, and I would do my brows, and this is how I do my brows, and this is considered by me natural looking brows. Yes, I know, I'm crazy. It's quite interesting. You can actually see this quite well on the camera. I was expecting for me to be stuck with a mirror. Should use this more often. Then I don't get to see the fine lines that I think I have. So yeah, also keep in mind that our faces aren't very symmetrical. So if you don't feel like you look too symmetrical, it's fine. Now, I was thinking whether I want to do highlighter, but now it just feels like I already look like a drag queen, so why not? So when it comes to highlighters, actually, I'm not a fan. I've tried some Kiko ones, but they're not that great. I usually prefer like good drugstore ones. So this one is the Light Infusion Catrice High Glow Mineral Highlighter Powder. I feel like a lot of people really like the Essence ones, but I like the Catrice ones more. And they're pretty much the same brands, I think. And you can find them pretty much everywhere. Like, I know you can find them in the US, you can find them in Europe, everywhere. You just go to a drugstore and you'll find them. What I like about this one is the fact that it's very bright. It's not heavy. I wouldn't, like, it feels subtle on the skin, but it looks very beaming. So you're gonna see what I'm talking about. See? So see, I quite have like a very sort of rich glow, which matches the paleness of my skin tone, if you must. Now the next part is I usually do lips instead of my eyes because lips are actually my favorite part. And that's why I have a lot of things. And I've seen a lot of sort of discussion about Pillow Talk by Charlotte Tilbury. And it is actually my MLBB. But first of all, I'm gonna go with liner because I'm feeling extra. So this is also like, this was recommended to me by my drag queen friend. They got a Kylie lip kit like after the reformulation, and they were like, you know what? These lip pencils are amazing. And I figured, okay, fine, I'm gonna save up, I'm gonna splurge a bit. And I got the lip kit in Kylie, that's in the shade Kylie, and it's really good, and it's something that I actually wear really often. The only thing I don't like is that the liquid matte is very easy to sort of like, if you eat anything, it just goes away. But the lip liner, it stays, it's bomb, and it's everything. But at the same time, I really enjoy the sort of matte feel of the liquid lipstick. Like, it's not too matte for me, the newer formulation. I haven't tried the old one, but I quite enjoy it. And I was actually thinking to pick up more, but then like with the fact that it's on the same mall as Kiko is, it's really difficult for me, as you can see, it's very difficult for me to stay away from Kiko. So basically, so I talked about the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk is because when I do want to sort of look natural, or when I just want a bit of it, I just dab it. But right now, I'm doing apparently a bit more than just. But this is what I call sort of like my usual look. So if I want like a sort of closer to my lips or a subtle lip liner, I usually use this Kylie one. I know it looks uneven. Trust me. We're gonna get that. And in general, I'm quite surprised that it didn't manage to fuck up too many things so far. So about the Charlotte Tilbury pillow talk, like up to the point, I really enjoyed it, and it was something I actually got to test, and I wasn't sure because this is a shade sort of like I have a lot in my arsenal, and I have a lot of similar-ish dupes. Up to the point that I remember when I had to test it, I had like dupes up to here. But I will say, like, if you have lips sort of like a similar color to mine, and if you're really pale, and you want a sort of pinkish, brownish nude, this is it. The formula, obviously, some people are not a fan of it. I am a big fan of it. So if I'm actually trying to be subtle, I just dab it against my lips. But if I'm not trying to be subtle, I just smear it all over. See? Looks pretty. So it is a bit drying, but I don't really feel it that drying-ish. Like, I used another matte lipstick yesterday, so maybe that's why it feels a bit drying today. But yeah, it's pretty much the shade Pillow Talk. Nothing sort of out of the ordinary. And I also keep it in the box because I've heard that it's sort of like the gold fades out, so I still have it in my box. As you can see, my box is quite bottom. The box is really busted. Next, for lip gloss, I usually tend to use like different Kiko ones, but this is actually a Morphe lip gloss, which I've had forever in the shade Show, and I really enjoy it. I probably would say that if Morphe wasn't as weird, and yeah, let's leave it. They weren't that weird, and they were nice to their employees, and they had sort of normal practices, I would still be buying these lip glosses. But this one's still lasting, and I've been using it like really good for ages, up to the point that when I wouldn't use lip gloss, I would still use it. And it came to me in the lip trio done by Lipstick Nick. So it has the lip liner, which is also great and amazing. After the Kylie, I would say Morphe has the best lip liners, and with the lipstick as well. The lipstick I kind of grew out of, but the lip gloss is always with me. I just wanted to add some glossiness today, really. And I feel like whenever I do my lips more glossy, it's really sort of more intense. Now, when it comes to, and also sometimes I pair the Pillow Talk with the MAC Whirl, which is great. And I remember I got a Whirl in Douglas when I was visiting Lithuania, and it was really interesting because I got one of the best services I've ever gotten there, and I would say that in Lithuania it's always very difficult for me to find good services because I'm a Russian speaker, and obviously they're never nice to me because of that, and I always end up with the worst attendance ever. Like, people really hate me up to the point that I have to speak English for people to think that I'm not from here, and just to see me as a human being. But people say things have started to change. I don't know, I haven't been there in ages. But yeah, Whirl is a really good one to pair up with Pillow Talk. So this one is a Kiko Blossoming Beauty 3-in-1 all over stick. I do have to mention this one is limited edition. And same for the Beauty Essentials. This one is right now like one of their new collections. So if you want a really good dupe, I would say get it, because like run to your nearest Kiko or wherever Kiko is sold, because I was really struggling to find any contour, and the Kiko contours bronzers, they really last a really long while. Like I have my Kiko bronzer, it's somewhere here on the table, and I've had it for years at this point, and it's not nowhere close to panning, and it's one of those dome ones, so I just have like the top of the dome like finished. Now when it comes to these sticks, I only have this one in the shade, but I've been eyeing the pink one a lot. So what I like to do with this one is that I really like to sort of leave a gap, sort of like a halo eye. So we're gonna see, I haven't actually tried this idea yet. I was thinking to repeat my yesterday's idea. But then I was like, you know what? I did that yesterday. So I'm gonna do this other look today. So I wanted to say that the Kiko eyeshadow sticks are one of the best things ever, up to the point that sometimes I just forget about eyeshadow. Like their eyeshadow sticks are that good. Like sometimes I just go like weeks just using Kiko eyeshadow sticks. When it comes to powder eyeshadow, I only use Pat McGrath because I feel like everyone's formulas, if you try Pat's, it's just rubbish. I do have one single shade of Kiko, which is one of their, because it's a very unique shade, but it takes a lot of work to work with it. And the eyeshadow sticks, you just do it 1, 2, and that's it. The eyeshadow sticks I'm talking about is the long-lasting eyeshadow stick. They have them in every store. They'll just have them in different colors. Like every store has different colors. It also depends on, I guess, whatever the mood of the season is. I really want to put a bronze in the middle and see how it looks. I don't know if it's gonna look good. I don't know if it's gonna look bad, but we're gonna try it. Oh, it looks nice. Looks quite lit. So what I like about these is like it's an easy application, and you're pretty much done for the day. They really last the whole day. You don't have to do anything. They're very vibrant. They're around like 80 euros, like 7.99 I think. And what I like about this thing, right now it's on sale. So it's like one of those older collections, and it's really nice. So you have this like spongy thing. I know we're supposed to be moving away from sponges, but this is cute, okay? I promise it's cute. Sometimes I just diffuse everything on my finger. Like I have brushes, I even have brushes here, I swear. I just felt like diffusing them on my finger. Like with this thing instead. I don't know what's with my nose all of a sudden. Probably talking too much. Now, if I want a subtle look, I do not use mascara. I had a period where I would only use mascara, sort of like, like any average girl, I guess. But, or any average sort of user. And I don't like my lashes in general, and I don't like the way my lashes look in mascara, But I feel like it's such a sort of essential step for everyone that I just end up using it just because. And I do wish I had sometimes the confidence to forget about mascara completely. But alas, today is not one of those days, and I feel like I do want to put some mascara. Now, the mascara I have, I usually change my mascaras every 6 months. I don't go for high-end mascaras. Yes, I know it's Kiko. But I just wanted to say that I really would rather buy a drugstore one every 6 months than wait for a very expensive one every 6 months as well. And I remember I read that advice from it was in the Cosmopolitan article I read, it was literally Katy Perry's makeup artist. At this point, I don't know who it was, but it stuck with me, and it's sort of like that advice which I still keep with me. So this specific Kiko mascara is the Energy Shake 36 Hours Lasting Double Effect Mascara. This is my second too. It's pretty good. What I like about it is that it has a separate length and volume effect. So technically you could get the same thing from just buying two different mascaras. Before these two tubes, I had the Makeup Revolution 5D Pow mascara, and that one was really bomb. And I've still seen it in our stores up to the point that I was like, yeah, I should probably get that one next time when this one runs out. But I don't know why, I feel like this one, like, I bought it, but it feels a bit drier than it should be. Like, maybe because it was manufactured, like, obviously, with the previous one that I threw out. But I feel like the first tube was better. Not really complaining, it's cute and all, don't get me wrong. Just, something to keep in mind about. That's why I usually tend to like drugstore more, because they push out so many mascaras that you know that which line is the newest one and you just grab that one. Or same for Kiko, you know which lines are sort of like the newest ones in store and stuff like that. But my eyelashes are really shit. Like, I cannot emphasize how shit they are. They're just brown and they just look down. Up to the point that when I don't have mascara, I always have like this light brown thingies in front of my eyes. That's how bad my lashes are. So sometimes I add volume before the lengthening. This is supposed to be lengthening. This is how bad my straight, small, brown lashes are. Then I add the volume, then sometimes I do lengthening again, then sometimes I start from volume, then I go to lengthening. I have no idea what I do with mascara. I do not curl my lashes. I do not care about my lashes that much. I used to do falsies ages ago. But then I figured that I can't be bothered because I'm still not good at it. And they don't really stick to my lashes because I have so little lash. I mean, if they could just like invent something for no lash people, I'd be like, yeah, that's probably for me. So it kind of opens my eyes a bit, but you know. And this is the best, sort of like one of the best mascaras I've ever done or tried. So this says a lot of how shit my lashes are. Just gonna go lengthening again, because I feel like it right now. I know I should have probably waited between the coats a bit more. But I kind of feel like I want to wrap up this video, because, I mean, I don't even know if anyone's gonna watch it to the end at this point. But yeah, this is pretty much the final look. As you can see, I didn't go way too over the top, but at the same time, I kind of stayed true to myself. I stayed true to the products I enjoy and everything like that. Um, I just really enjoyed doing this. I have been dying to do this. I don't enjoy TikTok because I feel like it's very short to understand the makeup nuances. And yeah, hopefully on YouTube people will enjoy it as much as I did doing it, as much as I enjoy like watching, like, for instance, Patrick Starr's makeup tutorials. I really enjoy his like get ready with me's and everything, and I love how over the top he is. Although yeah, he's also like being problematic here and there, and yeah, pretty much. So thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, if you enjoyed it, um, I also kind of wanted to talk about something lighter than my usual topics, because I've also been drained, and I feel like this is a good sort of distraction for when I don't have the energy to talk about serious topics, and at the same time it feels like a good buffer because I do enjoy talking about serious topics. I do enjoy talking about politics, LGBT stuff, but at the same time, makeup is a big part of my identity. Makeup is a very big part of who I am, so obviously I do want to share my knowledge and my love for it. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe. If you enjoy this, share it with your friends. Do some makeup with me for all I care. Leave a like if you have any questions about the products and applications, any sort of US dupe equivalents. I really do work with dupes as well. None of these items were sort of sponsored for this video. Like, yes, I have gotten certain items, not Kiko, like through work and stuff like that, but they are the ones which I actually end up using. Like, these items are way past their sort of review time, and these are the ones which sort of stayed with me and I enjoyed talking, and I did disclose the ones which I did get through testing or I got through testing. So yeah, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.